Hello everybody, I'm Evening Starlight 97 back again. I thought today would be a bit different because haven't done one of these in a while. I think it's time I did another discussion on some random object or whatnot. So I think I want to get this out of the way as soon as possible. I've been wanting to do this for like a few months now, but never had the chance to do it. But I have another review, but this time it's a diecast item. It's not Erdl, it's not Hornby, it's not Take-Along Wooden Railway, it's not Tomy. It's Take-Along D261 or the Class 40, as the title suggests. So looking at it in its box, it's quite a unique box, I would say. I mean, I've seen a lot of these boxes a few times before from like a Heritage Railway when I went on trips like that whenever. This was what the box packaging would look like in 2010, 2013. Then in 2014 they made them a bit smaller. I think there's a lot of plastic used on the outside of the Class 40 box because, yeah, what the hell is there so much plastic for? And also, it doesn't feel compact for the model to be fitted in. But enough about the box. It's a nice design. I mean, that's what you'd get. But since the back just fell off, I think it's time to discuss this model. So let's take a look at the model then, shall we? So the Diesel's model, or Class 40 as you want to call it, was introduced probably in the year 2013, as well as the Big City Engine. He was likely retired around 2014 when Mattel redesigned the Take and Play range. Sorry. This isn't the exact model I would use in any of my videos. I'm more into using the Ertls or Wooden Railway or the Tomy model trains, whatever. I mean, I use 4 different brands. Mostly I would use 3 different brands, but I also have another counterpart that I want to compare to later in the video, but I want to show this off very quickly just so we could have a look. So let's have a look at the modeling, shall we? That face looks very great. The buffer beam is red, strangely, a bit darker red compared to the older Take-Along models. Looking at the side, very squished on the back. I'd say this part here looks like it's been cut up. This part here, I mean, I would have liked if they made it more the same on the roof. The back is the same, no detail. And size symmetrical. It says Class 40 on the bottom. It says it's 2003. The code, has a few letters on there, G10A. I'm not sure what they're supposed to mean. There's also like a little BCW99. Not sure what that's supposed to mean, but I know if you like have a little Wooden Railway and you have like those dates and when they were manufactured, it would be easy to tell. Also, a quick note, like older Take-Along models, their bogies would remove, but with this model of D261, they don't. They're static. And there's some like little Dremel rivets. If you could Dremel them out, make them free will, that would be amazing. I mean, his face looks very much like the Hornby or the Wooden Railway face. Although, I would say that this model isn't too bad, but to me, it just doesn't look like an actual Class 40, which I could compare with an Ertl one later. But he was... Oh, I forgot to mention brief history. So, D261 is based off of British Railways Class 40. He was built around the 60s, and I forgot when he was withdrawn from scrap. It was likely sometime in the 80s. I haven't done my research, or maybe it was 70s, 80s. I can't remember, but I'll have to check. He was brought on trial to pull on express coaches, but his attitude was very rude, much like another Diesel that I would show off later. He's shown to be egotistical, like how he would tell the steam engines they would be scrapped and they would be replaced by Diesels. But he got his comeuppance the next day when he sucked a bowl as their hat into his air intake, and Duck and Stepney took the train for him, and he went home when no one was looking, and we never saw him again. Although he's been like a popular character among us Thomas fans, like he returns, some say he's redeemed and got a second chance, or even on a Heritage Railway, but he still acts like his old persona for his age. And let's do a comparison now, shall we? Let's look at some models to compare it with. So here I have a Take-Along D189, although the D189 model, the Take-Along version, I presume there's a Take-and-Play version out there, but this one is a Take-Along. But this is the Take-and-Play D261 we're talking about, so this is going to be a quick one. So let's look at the sides. Okay, if you compare an actual Class 40 or Class 46, they look obviously the same, but this one, the front here is a lot more shorter compared to a Class normal actual 40. This one is a lot more stretched out. If we look at the roofs, well, there's not much of a difference, but let's look at the back. Oop, that one fell. Let's look at the back. There's obviously a bit of a slight difference, whereas the Class 46 is this side is much shorter than the Class 40. And yep, the bogies do rotate. And the tops, there's only a bit of detail which I would compare with. So I've also brought in another model for comparison, that is the Erdl D261. I was thinking of doing a discussion on him, but maybe we'll see. Well, let's look at the faces. The faces are obviously different because this one would have the smiling face. This one is a more smuggish face. The buffer beams are red on the Erdl. The buffers are white on the Erdl ones, and on the Take-and-Play, they're black. The windows are a bit bigger compared to a normal Class 40 is bigger. On the Take-and-Play, they're smaller. And I think I might have just noticed as well that the Erdl one, the Erdl face looks a bit smaller compared to the Take-and-Play. In length comparison, the Erdl one is quite big, whereas on the Take-and-Play, they're shorter. And you can say that's the same for the Take-Along D189, for instance. There is quite a bit of obvious detail you can see. Compared to his windows, he's got no... Well, he does have a door, but there are no little vent things on his Erdl model. There are after the first door, but there's like a little black bar between the door and the vents, but there isn't one. There is, however, just a couple of squares. I mean, you'd see like 4 of them on camera, and there is also some on the back, but there is a much more on high, just in rectangular, whereas on this one's just square looking. Also, that little cross line across the square grills is absent on the Take-Along Take-and-Play model, sorry. Just rushing this. There are a lot more detail on the back of the Erdl compared to the back, which is just like 6 little bits and bobs there. Even though Erdl is a unique range, let's look at the chassis. Well, we know the bogies, for instance. This one has only got 4 wheels. This one has the 8. This one's made in 1997, but I'm assuming it says the 82nd day of 1997, so I'd say shortly after Wilbert Awdry's death, that would be March 1997, sometime after around March, I would say. I keep really forgetting the dates. I need to do my research. So, unless you could say you're more of an Thomas fan, you'd like to collect these, I'd say collect this one, yeah. But you're going to have a hard time finding it in person. So if you can find this for a reasonable price on eBay, pick it up. Because, you know, one day these new in box, the ones that are new in box are going to go up for a high price on eBay. So if you can, pick one up. You know, I don't mind if you go for the Erdl one. If you like the Erdl range, be my guest. But even if Take-and-Play is a very small community, well, if it was back in the early 2000s, that's just not my theory. So let's go to recommended ratings for final. So I'd rate this D261 a 7 out of 10 even though it's a good model, there are some places it could have been improved. Like, for instance, have more detail on the top, and have the bogies to rotate, like D199 or Daisy or the flatbeds or whatever. I don't know if the flatbeds rotate, but anyways, well, that's basically my take on the Erdal D261. Should you pick this item up? Yeah, you should. If you can find it for a reasonable price, if it's loose. But if you're buying it new in box, but be aware, the prices may go up. I haven't checked on eBay at all before I did this video. But if you were to, I'd say have a look for one if you can. So anyways, I'm going to finish the video now. Say thank you for watching. I haven't done one of these in a while. It's nice to do these again. Haven't done. Yeah, I know, I said it before. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye, folks.